What's up, guys and gals? It's time for the latest piece of One Piece, chapter 1181, A God and a Devil. And let's jump into this one because is Emu literally... Joy Boy is living rent-free in Emu's head for now almost a fucking millennia at this point. For centuries, for hundreds of years, Joy Boy has lived in this man's psyche and has tormented him. You kind of feel bad. We don't really. But we kind of feel bad for the guy, don't you? Because Emu has this calm, collected, I am Mu. I am Emu. I am Umi, spelled backwards. It's a pun. Get it? I'm the blubber. I'm the black hot dog in the flower room sort of look. And now I have this sexy Lunarian demon form with black flames and red skin, and I look so Aztec-y and demon and woo. And then he literally ends up tweaking out a little bit there, just by one little memory. And Luffy hasn't even shown up yet. Mr. Reincarnation of Joy Boy, Harry Potter Chosen One over here has not even shown up to piss him off yet. So imagine how. Is he gonna make an Eneru face? I kind of want Oda to do that, but I kind of don't. Like, I'm sort of like, is he gonna make a Wano face? Is he gonna make a fucking Eneru face? Is he gonna make that face? Like, because he tweaked out just by thinking about Joy Boy. Now, when he sees Nika in full form, which once again we have no confirmation, by the way, that Joy Boy ever had the Nika fruit. As from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have no indication that Joy Boy had the Nika fruit. We just know that similar to the D Clan, Davy Jones, Emu, Joy Boy, the first part, like all this stuff, right? Who is actually who? Is it multiple names for the same person? Are there multiple iterations of that person? Or are we talking about four separate people? Is there a Nika, a Joy Boy, a Davy Jones, and the forefather of the D Clan? And then is there Emu himself? Like, are they all five separate things, or are they some of them mix and match? We don't know yet. So, what I like about this is just the fact that he tweaked out. I think that was so unexpected from the entire community, as far as I know. I think that was unexpected because I was like, wait, what? He's got this calm, collected. Ah, yes, I rule all. You're all peasants. He's got that Aizen, Shishio, Lord Frieza, that I never freak out. I am calm. I am collected. I am just what I am. I'm the mastermind behind everything, and nothing any of you peons, you ants. I am the boot, and you are the ants. He's got that motif. And in this chapter, Loki's getting pissed off because he's thinking about the fact that this guy, he's deduced that this is the guy. This is the guy who made Harold. Is like, Harold died like my father died, like only lived half of his life, at best. And you're the one who tricked my dad. You're the one that caused all this garbage to go down and stuff like that. And, obviously, Emu doesn't deny it. He's just like, I was the one inconvenienced by all this. And so Loki's like, all right, he charges up Ragnar, and he's like, damn you. Back then, what the hell did you do to my father? And he comes crashing down on him, completely. We see the giant lightning bolt come out of the sky following his Ragnar strike, and he uses an ability called Ragna Izuchi, and he goes slamming right down with the lightning with, Ratatoskr is inside the, in the little thing, and in the hammer, and he's just like coming straight down on him. And this is where Emu immediately puts up a, once again, omen circle. I don't know what we're going to start calling this, but like his little devilish, like his... It reminds me of Big Mom's power, like with the Soul fruit, where things come alive, but it's like the devilish version, a darker version of that. And so, anyway, his omen powers. He puts up his omen powers, and it takes a lot of blunt force. Like, it goes boom, like it stalls it, but it's like, and it's not a pretty sight. Everybody goes flying. Everyone can feel this massive shockwave across the island. So we see Jinbei and Nami. We see Vegapunk and Bonnie and stuff like that. And we're just like, what the hell? So Loki even says, like, I can't believe he actually tanked that. And what's with all these black flames? What sort of power do you have? And he claims that it's Omen. It's simply my military might. Mu's military might. And so he's connected it. And he goes through and immediately starts to grow bigger with this omen power, and Loki's like, wait, he's growing to like trying to match my size, and he's just like, gigantification, what the hell is it? And Emu starts to explain that this is a power that dwells within all things. They clash very strongly. Loki doesn't seem to lose the clash, but he doesn't win the clash. Emu continues to use different abilities. He switches up his mace power to a giant black sword and stabs Loki after the clash right through the chest. So Loki takes an attack and just says Nemesis. Is that the name of the sword? Is that the name of the attack? What is it? I have no idea, because there's going to be a lot of theory craft. Now I'm going to have to go on and watch Tekking's breakdowns and stuff like that, because he's probably got his fingers on the pulse of every theory craft known to man, because some of this is straight up confusing me. I'm sure I can connect the dots and stuff like that eventually, but my god, like, maybe it's just a brand new power and we'll get a better explanation later, but because he speaks in such old English and it's like, oh no, it's poetic, because he's talking about his power in a poetic way and not in layman's terms, it's hard to know which one's which. So Nemesis, is it the name of the attack? Is it the name of the sword? Is it the name of his power? We don't know. But he stabs Loki right through, and he continues to explain that strength is an attribute that people naturally crave. And yet, that craving can easily be satisfied via corruption. And it shows the corruption that he pulled on, like, Dory and Bragi and stuff like that. And it's like, okay. And so it's basically like, it's people who thirst for more power, who thirst for strength. If they want more strength, if they crave power, then he's able to corrupt them. And that's the way I'm taking it. And it would make sense that the two so far that we've seen that he could not corrupt was Luffy and Loki, because by Loki's own admission, he doesn't give a shit about getting stronger or gaining more strength. It's not on his radar. It's not something he ever cared about. Most giants do. That's why Dory and Bragi, even though they have hockey and stuff like that, were able to be corrupted. Rox was not satisfied with his lot, and though the corruption took a long time, it wasn't the Conqueror's hockey that was the factor. It's the fact that he craved to be king of the world. He craved more power, more strength, so he was corruptible. It begs the question whether Roger, I don't think by this logic, this is why both Luffy and Loki are unable to be corrupted. It has nothing to do with their devil fruits. It has to do with not their hockey, but their actual will. Like, it would probably corrupt Zoro, but it would not work on Roger or Rayleigh, because that's not what they craved. It probably wouldn't work on Whitebeard. Whitebeard craved a family, not strength. It would work on Shiki, on Kaido, on Rox, but it would not work on Whitebeard or Roger or even Garp and Luffy, because these people don't crave power. Whether it's for noble reasons or not. Like, Zoro strives to be the strongest swordsman. He craves to be stronger than Mihawk. So he desires strength. The corruption would work on Zoro. Luffy does not care. He now has the strength that he craved. Corruption, I believe, would work depending on the mindset of the individual at the time. When he was defeated at Sabaody Archipelago, had Emu tried to corrupt Luffy then, it would have worked, is my thinking process. This is my theory craft. It would have worked, because he was like, I'm still so damn weak. I couldn't protect any of my crew. I don't have the strength. I'm weak. I don't have the power to save my brother. I couldn't save my crew. At that point, corruption would have worked. But it won't work on Luffy now, because he hasn't lost since. He's not lost anybody. He hasn't lost a fight. He's won everything. So he doesn't need or crave more power or more strength, because his lesson was already learned, and there hasn't been a new lesson in regards to power and strength since. He's believed in his fists, like Jinbei told him. That unwavering belief in your own fists. That's tried and true. He had the moment of weakness. It was a great character moment, but that would have been the time that Emu could corrupt him, and now he can't. That's what I'm going with so far, because it would explain why Dory and Bragi and Rox were able to be corrupted, but Loki and Luffy were not, and by this own admission that craving can be satisfied, the craving of power, with corruption. It merely requires one to submit their will to a covenant. And then we had Harald. So Harald wanted more power, so the covenant worked as well. Obviously, it also worked on Shanks, given the time frame. So when their envy drives them, they'll achieve power. So once again, this is, as I said, it's the will and the mindset of the person at the time. It would never have worked, as far as we know. I don't think it ever would have worked on Roger by this logic. And this is what, just by this own explanation, this is what I'm going with right now. Because he says those three things together form a trinity. And this trinity is known as dominion. So it's like, okay, so the power, the envy, and the corruption, when you combine all three and you create the covenant known as dominion, and then he can control you. But if you never envy or crave power in the first place, Emu's power will not work and will have no hold on you. At least that's what I'm going for. Because he attacks, once again, he attacks Loki by stating this and stuff like that. And then he brings up, shall I grant you the power of God? And he says, don't you want that to go beyond humanity? And Loki smashes him down, smashes Emu down and says, I don't want it. And he said, so God's dominion, that's your power? It sounds more like a deal with the devil, which has been brought up, theory-crafted many times. Like that's what Saturn, that's what a covenant is. That's what the Gors they go through, etc., etc. And he just answers this with another question, saying, is there a difference between a god and a devil? Now, that's where Loki just simply says, that beats me. I just know I ain't going to let myself be dominated by anyone. Once again, that's a bit of willpower, but Loki doesn't crave strength. So he says, the world itself rejoices in a state of dominion. Isn't that right? And he's thinking of the time that it seemed like Emu was almost laughing with Joy Boy at the time, because we see Joy Boy and the silhouette of Joy Boy, we see Mu, and they're both seemingly having a good time. So he even says, like, the world itself rejoices in a state of dominion. Now, this is interesting because he says that as though the whole world was robots. The whole world was under corruption or dominated at the time. And Joy Boy agreed with this, or liked it, or didn't like it. I'm not sure, because the implication says that maybe there's more to that story. But then as Loki charges up, that's when he tweaks out and he goes, isn't that right? Isn't that right? Joy Boy! Just thinking about, the fact that Joy Boy obviously in some way, shape, or form betrayed him, defied him, proved his theory wrong, and he just going ham. And this is where we see Luffy, whether it's the Nika fruit or anything else, but the Conqueror's Haki from Emu is pushing all the way to the library and stuff like that. And or the wherever they went, I think they went into the ruins of the library or close by. Anyways, Luffy is just chowing down on the meat, going num num, and is just like, I need more. I gotta eat more. I've never felt any hockey like this before. I'm so heavy that I'm suffocating. But whatever this hockey is, I need to be at full strength. Like if I don't eat all this, we can't win. I can't do it unless I'm at full HP. So Luffy understands. He recognizes the hockey. He recognizes the danger. He knows he needs full on Gear 5 at full strength. So he's just chowing down. But last page of the chapter, Loki does not care. He's just like, you still lost in thought? And he gives him a huge, that lightning, like he was charging up that lightning attack with Ragnar. And he slams into Emu right into the tree, right into Yggdrasil. He slams him right into the tree, claiming that it just tells me one thing: if you're lost in thought, you're underestimating me. Boom, slams him in, turns into his Needhog dragon form, and Hyper Beam blasts his ass while it's already into the tree. And it's like, that's my guy, that's Loki, let's go. And this is where he immediately claims, because Emu had to, because he actually took damage. He's bleeding. He took damage from the Ragnar attack, and he's coughing up. He's going ugh and stuff like that. So we see that he can be damaged. He saw Needhog come up, and he instantly protected himself with the Omen before he got hyper beamed. He had to. He did like some weird Naruto hand sign or something like that, and boom, he takes the attack, and then he says, "You really have returned, Needhog." And now he's got a big devilish smile on his face. End of chapter. So, yeah, quite a bit. As I said, a theory crafting to go on. I still like my idea that only those, whether for noble reasons, for good reasons, even to protect one. That's why I said Luffy could have been corrupted, because the reason he desired more strength at that time was because he recognized he was weak. Had he been stronger, Ace wouldn't have died. Had he been stronger, his crew wouldn't have lost. He wouldn't have lost his crew. Had he been stronger, and that desire for more power, that desire for more strength, is what feeds into the envy of those who have it, and therefore are able to be corruptible. Giants naturally, like Dorian Broggy, always seek greater strength. They want to be the strongest, hardest warriors. Zoro, all the samurai, Mihawk, Shanks, all these guys, of course they do. The Kaidos, the Big Moms, the Rocks claim to want to be the biggest. Shiki, all of them. But there's some individuals who are just strong, but never desired more strength, or never had a moment, and maybe they did. Maybe Garp, at the moment, when Ace died or whatever, wished he had some desire or more strength. Maybe there was a moment before that with Roger or something like that. Maybe Roger and Garp might have been corrupted like Rocks at the time. Had they not figured out the way? It's like, we have to save Rocks. I need more power, and that line, all it takes is that one break, that line of thinking, to be able to be corruptible. But so far, as I said, I like the idea that that's what it is. It's got nothing to do, because it takes away from the hockey is everything. It's still willpower based. It's still mental fortitude based, but it's a different caveat, because Zoro desiring to be the strongest swordsman in the world is not inherently a bad dream or a bad thing, but it is a corruptible thing that Imu can take advantage of, in the same way they took advantage of Harald, in the same way they took advantage of Rocks. It could easily corrupt Blackbeard. Could they corrupt, as I said, Roger, Rayleigh, Garp? Couldn't corrupt Luffy and Loki, so probably couldn't corrupt Jinbei, in the same way that the Soul Fruit of Big Mom did not work on Jinbei. I don't think the corruption would either, because I still believe to this day that Omen, it's still the devil's power. It's probably the devil fruit. Literally the devil no me. It's probably the devil fruit. And the Satan fruit. The Lucifer fruit. Whatever you want to call it. But that's probably what it is. It's the devil fruit. And it's so easily similar to as I said, the soul fruit. It's something that you can't waver. You can't even lie to yourself. So it will work on 90% of everybody for good and bad reasons, but it won't work on some individuals, So that's my theory going forward. We're going to have to wait to see what other people are saying, and then, of course, Oda will tell us eventually. So, well, it might take him a decade, but he'll eventually tell us, right? So, that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I really enjoyed the chapter. Hope you guys did too. Loki's definitely going to need Luffy's help. So, Luffy, come on. Chow down, man. We need some Gear 5th action here. You guys got to tag team this guy, or Loki's probably going to not be in great shape. So, yeah. That's it for me, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys back here for chapter 1182 next time. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Have a good one. Sayonara.